Hey everybody, it's low carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger doing what I do best, helping you do keto without the crazy. Now, I am sure that nobody watching has any trouble sticking to keto, right? You discovered some plan, you discovered some program, you did it, never looked back. The keto magical pixie dust that I always talk about, that magical pixie dust is sprinkling down upon the kingdom and all is well, right? So, since none of you is having trouble actually sticking to keto, I figured I would just do this video topic for fun so you could maybe just learn about a problem that you probably don't have. Yeah, right. So, for the many of you out there that are having difficulty actually sticking to a low carb or ketogenic diet consistently for a longer period of time, this is for you. I have two main tips or suggestions for you, and they are different ways of achieving the same end goal result. The end goal result being you sticking to keto for the long term. So, if you have only been able to rack up a couple of days in a row, or even a couple of weeks, and then it's a few days off and a few weeks back on and a few months off, okay. And assuming you want to stick to keto, right? Like, I tell people sometimes maybe the reason this is so difficult for you is because there's something out there that's a better fit for you. You know, I literally make my career out of educating and helping people do low carb and ketogenic diets, but it's not the only thing that works, right? Whether you are trying to control your blood sugar or trying to lose weight or trying to do some other, achieve something else with your health, keto's not the only thing. Now, keto is actually the only thing for some very rare medical conditions for which there is no other treatment whatsoever, but I am speaking here mostly of things like weight loss, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, and all that. There are, in my opinion, carbohydrate restriction is the most effective thing. It's not the only thing that works. So don't be afraid to not do keto. Like, if you feel like you are having to like shoehorn yourself into keto, you are having to force yourself to do this, and you hate every minute of it, maybe it's not for you. But let's assume it is for you. You do want to do it. You do think it's going to be the most effective thing. You even like the way you feel on the rare occasions you have been able to maybe stick together several days or a few weeks in a row. You know it works for you. You do want to do it. You just haven't been able to consistently over the long term. So, what are my two suggestions? I'm going to start with the first one. Now, ideally, you would get a plan, get a program, and just jump in and stick to it. But you have shown yourself time and time again that that has not worked. And if that's not working, if it's not working to go cold turkey and ditch all the carbs at once, we've got to find some other method. Now, one thing you could do is there is a link in the notes of every video I post to Dr. Eric Westman's famous page 4 diet. Why is it called page 4? Because it is the fourth page of the handout he gives his patients at his clinic. And the whole handout is many pages. The food list starts on page 4, so it became known as page 4. It is literally one page, one side. It's called page 4 because it is a page of paper. That's how simple it is. He puts the whole entire diet, the diet by which he has helped people lose hundreds of pounds and reverse type 2 diabetes and reverse PCOS and reverse metabolic syndrome and blah, 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 on one side of an 8.5 by 11 paper. And you're out there paying thousands of dollars for gurus and coaching and blah, 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 blah. One page of paper. So you can get the page 4 diet from the notes below. Or, pro tip for you, the page 4 diet is the exact same food list as the phase 1 food list in our book, End Your Carb Confusion. So if you have this book, you already have the page 4 diet. You just don't know it because we gave it a different name. So it is very, very strict. It is 20 total grams of carbohydrate or fewer per day. Not net. We're not subtracting fiber. We're not subtracting sugar alcohols. There's no nuts. There are no nuts, so there's no nut flour, no almond flour, no coconut flour, no this, no that. So all of those bars are out. The keto cereal, the keto granola, it's out. It's very, very strict. And some of the things, and the protein foods are I don't want to say unlimited. It is written as, when hungry, eat as much as you want of these foods until you are comfortably full. So it doesn't say unlimited. It just says eat as much, when hungry, eat as much as you want of these foods until you are comfortably full. And most of that is the animal proteins. It's the beef, the pork, the poultry, the lamb, the buffalo, whatever, fish and shellfish, eggs. What is limited is anything that has carbohydrate, i.e. the non-starchy vegetables. And also, what surprises a lot of people is that this food list, the added fats and oils are not unlimited. So mayonnaise, butter, cream cheese, cream, olive oil, avocado oil, ghee, coconut oil, whatever added fat and oil or very, very high fat item like the cheese or like avocados are limited. You can have them. They are on the list, but the quantity is limited. So the first of the two tips that I have for those of you that have a hard time sticking to keto. Number one, do phase 1 or page 4, whatever you want to call it, but for the first few days or even weeks, don't worry about the quantity limits on the fats and oils and the cheese and the avocado and all that. Ideally, you kind of keep it in check, but just get used to being without the carbs. So follow the list strictly. Get rid of all the sugar and starch. Make sure that all your food, if it's not on the list, don't eat it. That's how this works. It could not be more simple. If it's not on the list, don't eat it. So you can eat as much as you want as long as it's on that list, or as long as it's in the phase 1 list. Eat as much as you want, even of the items that are normally limited. Because what we want to do is get your body just accustomed to being without the sugar and starch. And if that means you're overeating the avocado or the butter or the mayonnaise, so be it. Understand that if your main goal is to lose body fat, that's probably not going to happen while you are still overeating those very high fat items. But that's not the goal. The first goal is to get you to stick to this. The next, we can worry about the weight loss down the line, worry about the other stuff down the line. The first thing we need you to do is to actually stick to this. And if one of the reasons it's been difficult for you to stick to is because you don't understand how much of this can I have, what can I have, Phase 1 and page 4 make it so dead simple. There is like zero complication to it. So don't worry about calories. Don't worry about portion size. Don't worry about meal timing. If you're having, if you are grazing, if you're having more than 1 or 2 meals a day, it's fine. I don't care about any of that. I just want you to keep the carbs really, really low. Eat only foods in the phase 1 list or the page 4 list, and just don't worry about the quantity to start. Once you are used to being without the carbs, once your body is humming along, running on fats and ketones, woohoo, then you can start to cut back on some of those things. But if being able to snack on pepperoni, well, pepperoni is one of the less limited foods. Sorry, there's a motorcycle out there. I wonder if you can all hear it. Of course, they're revving in the parking lot while I record a video, you know. And now it just threw me off so much. Let me recalibrate. Right. If you are having a carb craving, if having an extra bit of cheese would take the edge off that, or if What else is limited? Having more guacamole, dipping your pork rinds in a ton of guacamole, even though avocado is one of the limited foods. If doing that, and again, quote unquote, overeating those foods, would keep you from going back to the carbs, if that's going to keep you out of the ice cream tub, if that's going to keep you out of the cookie package or whatever, do it. Do it. Just don't, and there's no guilt. This is the plan. You don't have to feel bad. Oh, I overate that. I did this. Yeah, because that is what you are agreeing to do. If you don't expect to stick to the list as written just yet, then you don't have to feel like a failure for not doing it. You say, you know what? I'm sticking to the foods on the list. I'm not worrying about the quantities just yet. That's step 2. Right now, all I have to do is just eat this, even if it means I'm eating more than my body needs. You give yourself permission to do that, and you adjust over time. The second, and I cannot tell you how much that has helped people. That alone, take the pressure off. If it's, for some of you, it's hard enough to give up the sugar and starch. It's hard enough to say goodbye to that. Now, not only did you have to say goodbye to all that, but you can't have maybe as much butter as you otherwise would want to. You can't have as much coconut oil or whatever else as you might want to. This is a method by which you can. You just have to understand that your fat loss probably isn't going to go all that well until you start to get those quantities in check. But again, we're not worried about that with step 1. That's step 2. Second method, second tip that is a different approach with the same end goal of getting you to actually stick to keto for the long term is doing it gradually. Nobody says you have to cut all the carbs out of your diet overnight immediately. It is perfectly fine to ease into this. And I've probably said this in videos many times, but I'll give you an example, and you could customize this however you want for yourself and your current diet. Let's say week 1, you're just starting out. Maybe you get rid of pasta and rice. Like if those are big things in your life, no pasta, no rice. You can still eat your beans, your potatoes, your fruit, your carrots and beets, your starchy vegetables, your corn, all that stuff. Just no pasta and rice. Once you get used to that, maybe a week or 2 or 3 later, however slowly you need to do this, then maybe no fruit, no beans. Okay, so now I've got no pasta, no rice, no fruit, no beans. I can still have potatoes, carrots, beets, parsnips, starchy winter squash, the corn. Another week or 2 later, you take 1 or 2 more things out. Every few weeks, you eliminate a couple of those sugary and starchy items from your diet. And eventually, guess what? You're on a ketogenic diet. You just took a lot longer to get there, which is fine because you know that doing it the cold turkey way wasn't working for you. So again, give yourself permission to do it slowly, and then you don't have to feel bad. You don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to feel like you're doing something wrong or like you're breaking the rules. The rule is, I'm doing this gradually, and that's okay. There is nothing wrong with that. In fact, I recommend that sometimes for people who have gout, because if you have gout and you remove all the carbs from your diet all at once, you will probably trigger a gout flare or 2 or 4. And there's less of a chance of that happening if you ease in. Now, plenty of people with gout don't ease in and they're fine. They just keep taking your allopurinol or whatever your gout medicine is. There's no medical advice here, just information for you. But that gradual decrease in the carbohydrate intake is one way to like it gets your body accustomed. There's less of a chance of triggering a gout flare. So I think that's great. But again, if you do it gradually, you must enter into that process understanding that you're probably not going to lose that much weight at first, right? Because you're still eating a lot of carbs. You are still eating too much carbohydrate for your body to really have made that shift to burning, to metabolizing fat. So but if you're aware of that, then you don't expect to drop a ton of weight very quickly. That's a trade-off that you are willingly making. You tell yourself, in order for me to actually stick to this and be successful, I have to ease into it gradually. And because I'm easing into it gradually, that means my weight loss is going to be much slower. Other issues I want to resolve, things I want to clear up or improve are going to take longer to do so. And that's a trade I'm willing to make. Because what is the alternative? The alternative is for you to keep trying to jump in all at once and failing and not getting results at all. The weight not coming off at all. The medical, the health problems not being reversed at all. So would you rather have, be making progress slowly or be making no progress? The choice is yours. Here, I'll just close out on this. The reason I prefer the jump in all at once method, and I do. And I do prefer that if you could stick to the list, but let's not worry about that. The reason I prefer the jump in all at once method is because that is the quickest way to start getting rid of the sugar cravings. It's the quickest way for the brain fog to be gone, for your energy to be better, for everything to start getting better. For some people, this happens within about 48 to 72 hours. You might have some hiccups those first 2 or 3 days, but that's relatively quick. The keto flu, it'll be gone. And then you really start feeling some effects, beneficial effects. So and if you continue to eat carbohydrate, even though you are cutting back, you're still tethered to that craving. You're still tethered to your body's sort of need for that infusion of starch, that infusion of carbohydrate. So to just get rid of it all and jump in is the quickest way to shut the door on all that and to make that transition from being mostly fueled on glucose to being fueled mostly on fat and a little bit on ketones. So I do recommend the jump in method. And if you want to do the gradual method, fine. If you do the jump in, if you also want to do the jump in method, but that has proven difficult to you, then I recommend, if you don't already have this book, get this book, End Your Carb Confusion, or get the page 4 food list that, again, there's a link below. And just, if it's not on the list, don't eat it. If it is on the list, you can eat it, and don't worry about the quantity for now. You will have to adjust over time. Let's one thing at a time, right? And I just will mention, if you click on the page 4 link, it is not free. Dr. Westman doesn't give it away for free. He used to, and it's like nobody wants it. Like nobody thinks anything is valuable unless there's a price tag on it. So he does charge for it. However, all of the proceeds go to fund research. So if you want to contribute your own little part to research on low carb and ketogenic diets, he's not buying like whatever designer clothes off of this stuff. The proceeds go to fund research. And what else can I say? The price, I'll tell you what it is. I think it's about $9.99, I think. You all, I don't even know you. Maybe I know some of you. I know some friends that might watch, but I can guarantee, right? I don't know you. I can guarantee you have paid far more for far less than the results this one sheet of paper will give you. And I know many of you follow me and Dr. Westman, or you have the page 4 diet. If you don't, now's your chance. He calls this prescription strength keto because it's a lot more effective than the crazy internet wackadoodle keto. So yeah, good luck. I hope that's helpful. If you need more help, book a consultation. There's a link below. If you can have one-on-one time with me. I do individual consultations, but so much cheaper to buy the page 4 $9.99. Or let's see, that's it. I hope this is helpful. There is a light. Like if you feel like you have been flailing and not making any progress, I just gave you 2 suggestions as to how you can start making that progress. So click the bell below. Be sure to do that so you get notified when I have new videos, and subscribe to the channel. All right, see you next time.